The hidden labyrinth. Beneath your feet, close your eyes. Imagine standing at the edge of an ancient forest, where the air hums with the weight of forgotten stories. The trees tower above you, their gnarled roots breaking through the soil like veins of the earth. Moonlight spills through the canopy, casting fractured silver patterns on the ground. Before you, half buried under moss and ivy, a stone archway marks the entrance to a path. Overgrown, crumbling, yet unmistakably deliberate. This is no ordinary trail. It is the threshold to Carl Jung's forbidden map to the unconscious mind, a realm modern life urges us to avoid. Why forbidden? Because it defies the tidy stories we're told about who we are. Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and explorer of the psyche, once described the unconscious not as a void, but as a living ecosystem, a labyrinth of memory, instinct, and myth. Yet society trains us to fear the dark. We're taught to dismiss dreams as random noise, to pathologize our shadows, and to cling to the flickering lantern of rationality. But what if the lantern's light, while comforting, blinds us to the constellations hidden in the... Let me share a secret. Every culture that came before us knew the value of descent. The Greek hero Orpheus ventured into the underworld to retrieve his love. The Sumerian goddess Inanna stripped herself of power and status to enter the realm of her sister, Ereshkigal. Dante wandered through hell to reach paradise. These myths are not mere stories, they are maps. Maps that say, to become whole, you must first lose yourself. Jung's forbidden labyrinth is no different. It is forbidden, not because it is evil, but because it demands we surrender the illusion of control. Picture this labyrinth now. Its walls are not stone, but the layered residue of your life, childhood joys, unspoken griefs, desires you've buried to fit in. Every twist and turn holds a fragment of your unwritten history. Jung called this the personal unconscious. Deeper still lies what he termed the collective unconscious, an underground ocean of ancestral wisdom, shared symbols, and primal fears. It's why a child raised in a city still trembles at the howl of a wolf they've never seen, why a melody can stir a longing for a home. Here's the paradox. Society tells us to know ourselves, yet discourages us from exploring the very terrain where that knowledge resides. We're taught to chronicle our lives in resumes and social media posts, curated masks Jung called the persona. But the labyrinth scoffs at masks. Its corridors echo with questions. Who are you when no one is watching? What memories have you entombed? What might you become if you stopped fearing the... Let's take a step. Feel the earth beneath your feet, cool and damp. The air here is thick with the scent of petrichor and pine. As you pass through the archway, the world above begins to fade. The buzz of phones, the glare of screens, the ceaseless chatter of should and must. In the silence you hear it, a faint rhythmic pulse, like the heartbeat of the labyrinth itself. Your lantern trembles, casting light on symbols carved into the walls. A serpent coiled around a tree, a key, a pair of wings. These are archetypes. Jung would say, universal motifs that live in all of us, waiting to be decoded. But beware, the labyrinth is alive. It breathes, it tests, it mirrors back what you've hidden. You might stumble upon a door etched with a childhood nickname you've long abandoned, or a mirror showing not your face, but the face of a stranger who feels eerily familiar. This is the unconscious refusing to be ignored. It speaks in riddles, in dreams. In the prickling sense, there's more to your story. Why begin this journey? Because Jung's greatest insight was that ignoring the labyrinth doesn't make unexamined fears calcify into phobias, buried trauma leaks into relationships. The persona grows brittle, a shell that cracks under pressure. But those brave enough to wander, to sit with the shadows and live, often find something unexpected. Not monsters, but lost parts of themselves. A creativity they thought extinct. A resilience forged in old wounds. A voice they'd silenced long ago. So take a moment. Feel the weight of the lantern in your hand. Its flame is your consciousness, finite, fragile, yet capable of illuminating profound truth. The labyrinth stretches ahead, vast and ancient. You need not rush, breathe, listen. The journey inward is not a race, but a homecoming. And as the forest above fades into memory, ask yourself, What might the dark be eager to show you? The Shadowlands, embracing the banished self. As you descend deeper into the labyrinth, the air grows heavier, saturated with the scent of damp earth and aged parchment. The lantern's glow now reveals walls etched with jagged markings crude, drawings of beasts, lovers, and warriors locked in battle. This is the threshold of the Shadowlands, Jung's realm of the repressed, but do not mistake this for a prison. It is a sanctuary for everything you've been taught to disown. The shadow is not a villain. It is the exiled self, the parts of you deemed too much or not enough by the world above, the envy you swallowed when a friend succeeded, the rage you numbed with politeness, the raw creativity you abandoned to meet expectations. Jung called it the thing a person has no wish to be. Yet here's the paradox. The more you deny the shadow, the more it governs you. Like a marionette hidden backstage, it pulls strings you refuse to see. Picture a kingdom that banishes its night. The citizens celebrate endless daylight, but crops wither without rest, and children grow feverish without dreams. The king, fearing revolt, builds higher walls to keep the dark at bay, until one day the denied night floods the kingdom in a single. This is the shadow's revenge. We spend lifetimes building fortresses of morality, productivity, and virtue, only to find our foundations cracking under the weight of what we've buried. Now imagine standing before a pool of black water in the heart of the cavern. Its surface is still, but as you peer closer, faces flicker beneath it. Strangers, ancestors, versions of yourself you've long forgotten. This is the shadow's mirror. It does not show your reflection, but your unlived life. The friendships you sabotaged out of fear, the passions you abandoned for practicality, the truths you swallowed to keep the peace. Jung wrote of a man who dreamt of a primitive, hairy figure haunting his home. The man, a respected scholar, was horrified until he realized the figure carried a golden key. The shadow, he discovered, held the very wisdom his polished intellect lacked. What golden key might your shadow hold? Here's the secret no one tells you. The shadow is not your opposite. It is your complement. A painter needs both light and shadow to give form to a canvas. So too does the psyche require duality to create meaning. But society sells a lie, that you must choose between good and bad, between the self you present and the self you hide. The labyrinth whispers a different truth. Wholeness is not the absence of darkness, but the art of holding both. Now, a figure emerges from the gloom. Its face shifts. A snarling stranger, a weeping child, a version of you, distorted as if seen through warped glass. Your pulse quickens. Do you recoil? Or do you step closer, lantern raised, and whisper, "I see you"? This is the shadow's test. To integrate it, you need not become it. You need only acknowledge its existence. Think of a wound ignored. It festers, but exposed to air, it heals. When Jung's scholar embraced his primitive double, the figure transformed into a guide, leading him to creativity he'd thought lost. What might your shadow reveal if met with curiosity instead of contempt? Consider the myth of Narcissus. We remember him as the boy who fell in love with his reflection, but few mention his twin sister whom he ignored. Jungians argue Narcissus didn't drown in vanity. He drowned in halfness. By fixating on the surface, he rejected the depths. Your shadow is that twin. To love only your light is to love only half your soul. Integration begins here. As you hold the shadow's gaze, the cavern trembles, the pool of black water ripples, and something rises, an object wrapped in cloth. Unfurl it. Inside lies a mask, cracked. This is the persona you've worn for years, face the world demanded. But beside it rests a second mask, rough-hewn and primal. The shadow's gift. You need not choose. Place both masks in your The labyrinth nods Ahead, the path forks, one tunnel sloping upward toward light, the other descending into a deeper dark. But for now, stay here. Breathe. The act of seeing your shadow is itself a revolution. Ask yourself, what mask have I worn so long it's fused to my skin? What might grow in the between who I am and who I've refused to be? The answers are not in the lantern's light, but in the dance of the collective depths, ancestral whispers in the water. The labyrinth now opens into a cavern so vast its edges vanish into darkness. Before you stretches an underground sea, its surface still as glass, yet pulsing with a faint, bioluminescent glow. This is Jung's collective unconscious, an ocean of memory older than civilization. Here, the walls of individuality dissolve. You are no longer just you. You are a ripple in a current that has flowed through every human heart, from the first storytellers huddled around fires to the dreamers gazing at screens in silent apartments. Jung called this realm a psychic inheritance. It is not your personal history, but humanity's. Imagine a library where every book is written in a language beyond words, a lexicon of symbols, instincts, and stories etched into our DNA. The hero battling a dragon, the mother cradling life, the trickster upturning order. These archetypes are not metaphors. They live here, in the water, as real as the blood in your veins. Step closer to the shore. The black water mirrors your face, but as you lean in, your reflection fractures into 1,000 others, ancient and unborn, familiar and foreign. A Neanderthal tending flames, a medieval weaver at her loom, a child in a future city, yet unbuilt. You feel their joys, their terrors, their hungers. This is the paradox. The deeper you journey into yourself, the more you become everyone. Jung believed that in this sea, the individual is not only himself, but also the whole human lineage. How is this possible? Think of a tree. Its leaves may never touch, but beneath the soil, their roots intertwine, sharing nutrients, warnings, life. The collective unconscious is those roots. It's why a baby smiles at a face it's never seen, why lovers separated by continents invent. Similar myths, why grief feels ancient even when it's new. You've felt this, a melody that unspools a memory you don't own. A nightmare featuring a faceless pursuer others describe in eerily exact terms. Wade into the water. It is neither warm nor cold, but alive. Shapes move, but the surface, shadowy, immense. One glides past your leg, a great serpent, its scales iridescent. Another follows, a wolf, a bear, a winged bull. These are the archetypes in their raw primordial form. They do not speak, yet you understand. The serpent is rebirth. The wolf is loyalty and ferocity. The bull is unbridled strength. You've known them all your life in fairy tales, religions, and the quiet metaphors of your dreams. Here's the secret they don't teach you. Archetypes are not passive symbols. They hunger. They seek expression through you. The hero demands courage. The mother demands nurture. The trickster demands chaos. When ignored, they rise as compulsion, obsessions, phobias, inexplicable yearnings. A man terrified of drowning in dreams of tsunamis might be haunted by the archetype of the flood, humanity's ancient memory of cataclysm. A woman who collects abandoned objects driven by a need to save them might be channeling the orphan, a universal cry against neglect. Now a boat appears, a simple raft of weathered wood, its sail patched with symbols from a dozen cultures. Step aboard. As it drifts, the sea begins to glow brighter. Beneath you, scenes flicker like submerged cinema. A shaman dancing in a cave, a sailor singing to the stars, a crowd marching with banners you can't read. You smell incense, salt, sweat. Hear laughter in languages lost and unborn. This is the collective unconscious breathing. It does not belong to you. You belong to it. Jung once wrote of a patient who dreamt of a golden scarab beetle. As she described it, a real beetle tapped at his office window, a species rare to Zurich. Coincidence or proof of this hidden current? The collective unconscious does not respect the boundaries of time and space. It is the thread connecting a Neolithic hunter's prayer to a modern artist's brushstroke. As the raft nears the center of the sea, you see it, a massive whirlpool. It spirals perfectly, descending into infinity. This is the mandalal, the sacred circle found in every culture. Tibetan sand paintings, rose windows, the orbits of... It symbolizes wholeness, the unity of self, but to enter it is to surrender. Will you let the current pull you up? Before you decide, consider this. Every myth of descent, Inanna, Osiris, Persephone, teaches that to return, you must lose some, a crown, a memory, a version of you. What might the collective unconscious, your rigid individuality, your belief in separateness? The raft trembles, you grip its edges, but the choice is already made. To turn back now would be to deny the truth humming in your bones. You were never alone. Every step of your life has been guided by whispers you mistook for intuition, every love, every loss, a reflection in this eternal sea. The water stills. Above you, the cavern ceiling has vanished, replaced by a night sky dense with unfamiliar constellations. They pulse in time with your heartbeat. One pattern catches your eye, a serpent swallowing the Ouroboros, infinity, beginnings and endings as one. You drift, exhausted, awakened. The sea whispers, you are a vessel, carry us well. Synchronicity, the constellation of chance. You emerge from the underground sea into a cavern open to the night sky. Its ceiling a sea of swirling constellations pulse with uncanny rhythm, their light older than time. Here, in this celestial theater, Jung's most elusive concept comes alive. Synchronicity, the eerie sense that coincidence is not random, but a secret language. A songbird appears at your window the moment you recall a childhood pet. A stranger quotes a line from the book in your bag. A storm erupts as you weep. These are not accidents. They are the universe whispering, you are seen. Science dismisses such moments as chance, yet your bones hum with recognition. Jung called synchronicity a causal connecting principle, a thread stitching inner and outer worlds into meaning. Imagine two clocks side by side, ticking in perfect sync, not because they influence each other, but because they share a hidden rhythm. Synchronicity is that rhythm. It is time itself, bending to reveal a truth. There is no outer world, only a single breathing cosmos reflecting itself endlessly. Jung uncovered this mystery while studying ancient Chinese texts, the I Ching, where coins tossed in ritual reveal patterns mirroring the querents. He saw it again in the case of a trapped in rationalism, a woman who dreamt of a golden scarab beetle, only to have one tap at Jung's window mid-session, a species foreign to Zurich. The shock shattered her rigid worldview, unlocking a flood of healing emotion. The scarab, in Egyptian myth, symbolizes rebirth, coincidence, or the collective unconscious staging an intervention. Now the stars above rearrange. A cluster forms the shape of a winding river. Another, a flock of cranes in flight. You feel a pull to follow them, as if they are landmarks on a map only your soul can read. This is synchronicity's paradox. It offers guidance, but only if you surrender the need to understand. Like a dream, its meaning blooms in the gut, not the mind. A man ignores a detour and meets his future spouse in stalled traffic. A widow finds a letter from her late beloved inside a library book. The universe speaks in riddles, trusting you. To feel the answer, beneath this starscape, you notice stones arranged in a spiral. Kneeling, you touch one, and a memory surfaces. That day you stumbled upon a street musician playing your song, the one tied to a buried grief. Or the time you randomly opened a dictionary to serendipity while doubting your path. Synchronicity thrives at the edge of choice and fate. Logic, it is the trickster archetype's greatest jest. You are both author and character. Jung's collaborator, physicist Wolfgang Pauli, saw synchronicity as evidence of a cosmic order beyond cause and effect. He called it the bridge between matter and mind. Picture a spiderweb glistening with dew. Each droplet reflects the whole, the same way your inner turmoil might manifest as a storm outside, or a longing might summon a teacher. The Maya called this Kiaj, the sacred breath connecting all life. The Taoists named it Wu Wei, the flow of alignment. By any name, it defies control. You can only listen, wide-eyed. Now, a shooting star blazes across the sky, etching a path toward the horizon. Without thinking, you follow. The labyrinth's walls reappear, but these are made of light, not stone. Symbols flash in the constellations, an eye, a keyhole, a door. Each feels intimately tied to your life's unspoken this synchronicity. Purpose, to dissolve the illusion of separateness. Every chance encounter, every déjà vu, is the universe holding up a mirror, saying, you are not alone. You are not random. You are a note in a cosmic hymn. Yet here's the rub. The more you chase meaning, the more it Synchronicity favors the open hand, not the clenched fist. It is the friend who appears when you stop pleading for answers. The poem that finds you when you abandon the search for purpose. As you walk, a phrase repeats in your mind. Something a stranger said years ago, now resonating with uncanny clarity. The stars brighten, as if approving. Sit here a moment. Let the starry river overhead wash away the need to know. Synchronicity is not a puzzle to solve, but a rhythm to join. Feel it in your breath, the ebb and flow of a tide older than reason. Some call it God, others call it quantum entanglement. Jung called it the absolute knowledge of the unconscious. Whatever the name, it asks only this: trust the pattern you cannot see. The constellations now form a bridge of light, arching toward the labyrinth's final chamber. But before you rise, linger in this paradox. The universe is both indifferent and intimately attentive, random and meticulously designed. A coin spinning in midair, neither heads nor tails, but both, and neither. The bridge awaits. Step onto it and feel the stars hum beneath your feet. They are not distant. They are within you, always have been. Individuation, the mosaic of wholeness. You cross the bridge of stars into a circular chamber, its domed ceiling alive with shifting constellations. Below, the floor is a mosaic of shattered glass, each fragment reflecting a different facet. But as you step closer, the glass rearranges itself, forming a vast luminous portrait, your face, yet not your face. It is you as a child, you as an elder, you as a stranger, you as a myth. This is the chamber of individuation, Jung's crowning vision, the reconciliation of all selves into something neither perfect nor polished, but whole. Individuation is not about becoming better. It is about becoming complete. Imagine a tree that denies its roots for fear of the dark, or its leaves for fear of the wind. It would cease to be a tree. So too, Jung believed, we fracture ourselves when we cling to the persona and exile the shadow, ignore the ancestral sea, or dismiss synchronicity as chance. The mosaic before you is not a metaphor. It is a mirror of your soul's journey, scattered yet impossibly coherent. Here's the paradox they never teach. To become whole, you must first shatter, not physically but spiritually. The masks you've collected, the diligent worker, the loyal friend, the responsible parent, crumble here. What remains is the raw material of your being, memories, dreams, contradictions. Jung called this the self with a capital S, the nucleus of the psyche that transcends ego. It is not a destination, but a relationship, a dialogue between who you are and who you've always been. Walk the mosaics and notice how certain fragments glow brighter, a first love, a betrayal, a quiet moment of awe. These are your nodal points, moments when the unconscious erupted into your life, steering you toward growth. A job lost that led to a vocation, an illness that taught resilience, a dream that refused to be forgotten. Individuation is not a hero's journey. It is a spiral, looping through chaos and clarity, loss and discovery. Now, a figure materializes. At the chamber's center, an androgynous being with eyes like galaxies. It holds a hammer and a chisel. This is the divine artist, an archetype Jungians associate with the alchemical unus mundus, the one world where matter and spirit merge. Without a word, it strikes the mosaic. The glass shatters anew, but this time the pieces float upward, rearranging into a new pattern, a phoenix, a winding river, a door ajar. What is being asked of you here? To stop seeking and start seeing. Modern life sells the lie of the ideal self, a perfected version, free of flaws, doubts, or shadows. But Jung's mosaic whispers a different truth. Your flaws are not they are design, the crack that lets in light, the dissonant note that makes the melody human. A man who clings to positivity becomes brittle. A woman who makes a god of rationality grows cold. Individuation is the art of holding opposites, strength and fragility, joy and grief, certainty and wonder, without collapsing into either. Touch one of the floating shards. It dissolves at your fingertips, releasing a memory. That time you laughed while grieving, the day you forgave someone unforgivable, the moment you chose kindness over being right. These are the stitches in the tapestry of yourself. Jung called them transcendent functions, instances where conflict births something entirely new, a third path that honors both light and shadow. But beware, individuation is not a solitary act. The chamber's walls now reflect you've loved, hated, forgotten. They, too, are shards in your mosaic, a parent's criticism woven into your discipline, a friend's betrayal, sharpening your empathy. even the stranger who changed you with a glance. We are each other's architects. The divine artist approaches, offering a single shard of glass. In it you see not a reflection, but a question. What will you do with your wholeness? This is the final challenge. Individuation is not an end, but a beginning, a mandate to live authentically in a world that rewards mask, to create, love, and speak from the marrow of your truth. Even when it terrifies, the chamber begins to dissolve. The mosaic's pieces scatter into stardust, returning to the labyrinth's walls, the underground sea, the shadow's cavern. You realize the journey never ends. Each time you descend, you'll meet new fragments, new mysteries, but something has shifted. The masks in your satchel no longer feel like disguises. They are costumes for a play only you can write. As you exit the labyrinth, dawn breaks over the ancient forest. The air smells of dew and possibility. You are neither healed nor perfected, but you are aligned. Jung's forbidden map was never about fixing you. It was a love letter from the depths, a reminder. You were whole long before you began sleep. Now, let the mosaic's glow linger behind closed eyes. And if you dream, remember, you hold the chisel, the hammer, and the glass.